Hey guys, welcome back. So for this video, I will be making the EVA Unit 1 in Berserk mode from the series Neon Genesis Evangelion. If you haven't seen it or if you want to revisit it, it's actually all up on Netflix right now. I know that there's like sequels and different iterations, but I know like the main series is on Netflix right now, so you could totally binge watch that. I expected it to be a challenge because usually I like to do a lot of like textural, imperfect, kind of gross projects, and this is not that. This is very clean, but I did kind of cheat and decide to do the EVA Unit 1 in Berserk mode when it turns all crazy, because it's just more horrifying to look at, and of course that's very gratifying to me. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell. Okay, here we go. I always look at Pinterest for any references. Usually, you could like pick a picture and then that'll show you a bunch of related pictures. I find that's really good when it comes to trying to find references that use like a lot of different angles. I'll just land on one for the actual sketch, and this is when I realized that drawing mecha is really hard. Not that it surprised me, it seems like a very hard thing to draw, but for someone who never draws any technical type drawings, this was a challenge, and it took me way longer than I thought, and it was pretty stressful, but I was actually really happy with how it turned out. It's probably one of my favorite drawings that I've ever done. So here he is with the blood dripping down his mouth as well. After this, I had to jump into making the materials of my cake. So I'm using Rice Krispie Treat and candy melts as usual. I thought this would be better because it is, technically like a robot. I thought Rice Krispie Treat and just modeling chocolate would hold up a lot better than a cake, which might come out a little too voluminous, like a little too much mass, if that makes any sense. So I bought these candy melts from Michael's as always. They weren't the exact colors I wanted. The green was pretty spot on because he does have like this neon lime green, but purple of course was more lavender, so I'll show you what I did in order to match his actual purple. And then of course I'm making Rice Krispie Treats. This is where you microwave the marshmallows and then just throw in your Rice Krispies. And I'm using what is this? Like vegetable shortening Crisco to work with the Rice Krispie Treat. This is so that it does not stick to your hands. And I recommend using more Crisco than not. It's gross feeling, like it was really unsettling the first time I used it. But it really helps to make sure that you don't have to deal with like a sticky, annoying mess on your hands. I did not use a wire structure. I just pretty much winged it and built them up into this little mountain that you saw. After my modeling chocolate had cooled off, I can start mixing all my colors. So I'll make batches and then mix different colors to get the exact shades that I want. Here's some yellow and white that I had made previously. I always save my scraps because they last forever, pretty much. I'll definitely throw away like really old pieces, but they are still safe to consume as long as they're kept in a cool, dry place. I mean, it's essentially candy, right? I am mixing my yellow and white because I want a more vibrant white for his chest, like neck piece. Here is that lime green. It's pretty hard, but you can just make sure to knead it and it'll soften up into clay or like Play-Doh. It gets really soft if it gets warm enough. I cut it with a knife so it's kind of easier to handle. I've mentioned this many times before in my previous videos, but this is a workout. This takes way longer than I anticipate every time. Plus, this batch had a lot of this kind of hardened oil that was around the edges. That's totally normal. You just kind of have to knead it in to the actual chocolate. It'll disappear, and it's better for consistency, I feel. You really want to incorporate that into your mixture. And then I have that purple. The yellow and the green are all prepared. And now I have to work on the purple, and you can see that a lot of that like fattiness of the modeling chocolate really settled on the top. I've actually never seen it this bad. Usually it's just on the edges, but this is gonna take a lot of kneading to get rid of. On top of that, obviously this is more of like a grimace purple or like ditto, something that's not Shinji's Eva. So I got this food coloring by AmeriColor, which is gel food coloring, and it's really concentrated, and I'm hoping that it's gonna give a much more authentic or closer to the shade of the Eva than what I have right now. So let's start kneading and adding in this color. Slicing this was actually very satisfying. I could probably do that all day, but of course I had to get to kneading, and this was a big old block. I like to stand up to kind of use leverage so that I can push my weight into the clay instead of really working at my forearms. This is gel food coloring, just a basic purple. You can find it on Amazon. I put that into my lavender clay, and I ended up using a lot. Even though it's gel food color, modeling chocolate can really soak up the color and just like make that color disappear somehow. So I used a lot of food dye, and I just did it by eye, and I think the shade came out actually really great. Here are all the completed colors, and of course my next step is to then cover the entire Rice Krispie mound with a thin layer of modeling chocolate. I always found it helpful to start with a base, and this is how it turned out. I know, it looks crazy. And now came actually adding the details. This was also, like, if the drawings weren't hard enough, sculpting mecha is, wow, it's a different beast. This was definitely a new experience, and, you know, I was avoiding kind of any mecha or very technical straight line projects for a long time because I am kind of like a messy sculptor. Like, I kind of just like to attack things instead of being methodical about it. So that doesn't lend itself to mecha. As you can see, I was struggling with kind of like his helmet area. There's like that second wing, and it was being really droopy. And so not only was I struggling with trying to smooth them out, but also like the structural integrity of the sculpt was definitely a challenge. When I was thinking about making him, I was just like, you know, this is going to be a really easy sculpt. It's not too much. It's going to be really fun because he's in berserk mode. But yeah, this was a very tedious process. And if there's going to be a style of project that burns me out, it's definitely mecha. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. It was actually really cool seeing it come together, of course. This was a very hot day, so you can see I have the AC, like I have a wall unit AC right behind me, and this was also a day where I just felt really motivated to try to get as much done as possible. So I know it drives you crazy to see, but all my hair is just flying everywhere, but I really just didn't have the time in my head to stop and fix my hair. I was just really going at it at this point. Nothing could stop me until I had to like use the restroom, and then I fixed my hair. As usual, the motto is trust the process. It always looks super nuts in the beginning, but the more I add, the more I smooth, the more it comes together, I get more and more excited. Here's that lime green. I'm just doing very tiny details, so I probably made more green modeling chocolate than I needed to, but that's fine because I could just use it for future projects. I'm doing a lot of smoothing in between steps. So right now he looks very organic, which, I mean, technically Berserk mode for me definitely kind of crosses the line into like an organic look. I will be jumping around and smoothing here and there like random parts while I'm putting him together. It's kind of like the nature of the beast. Here I am putting on his chest piece. This was really exciting because I could really feel the EVA unit starting to show. Yeah, laying in his teeth is always frustrating and super exciting at the same time. It really brings the character to life. Here is his little tongue. And the unicorn horn. This was probably the most nerve-wracking, or like just the thought of it was really nerve-wracking. And if I'm gonna be really honest and kind of spoil it, probably the part that I'm most unhappy with in the final, like what it finally came out to look like. It was just really hard for me to get a very smooth look. I knew he was going to be a little lumpy. I knew he wasn't going to be perfect, but that horn is really unforgiving when it comes to how it looks in the end. I'm going to really have to practice like cutting out shapes and then, putting them onto the sculpt instead of trying to do everything like in manual mode, if that makes any sense. And then the final touches were putting like all the gruesome, gory blood in his mouth, and that was really fun. You can see me painting on red food dye to kind of make the blood, look a little bit more real because it was looking a little ketchupy. But for some reason, this pose right here reminds me of like a picnic in a period movie. It's like I'm just having this like idyllic, sweet, peaceful time while I'm painting blood onto his teeth. And here he is. Of course, watching the actual show while I do this sculpt is completely necessary. And that was my EVA Unit 1 cake, or like dessert sculpture, because there's technically no cake in it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. This took a lot longer than I thought it would. For some reason, when I was just thinking about the project, I was like, oh, it's gonna go by so quick. I'm only doing mostly like shoulders and up, and it's really cool and I have a lot of fun. And I did have a lot of fun, although it was pretty stressful because I didn't realize how hard it is to do the mecha look, whether it's drawing or sculpting. As you can see, if you have a very discerning eye, it is quite lumpy still, but I'm getting there. Hopefully I can get to a place where I do a much smoother look. But I think what I did so far was a success. I love looking at him a lot. I still have him in my fridge. I'll keep opening the door to just glance at him. And so I hope other people also find it cool, It was nice to do anime that wasn't like Studio Ghibli. So for my next projects and next videos, I actually have 2 lined up because somebody online reached out to me after they saw my work and really wanted some anime cakes done. It's funny because one of them that they requested was Neon Genesis. They wanted one of Ray. So that's exciting and fun and also really scary and intimidating because I'll be making it for someone else, and it's just scary. But I will be starting to sketch that out soon. And they actually wanted a second cake from Jujutsu Kaisen. I've actually never seen the series. Hopefully it's online somewhere. But that also seems like a really intricate cake or chocolate sculpture. But it's all really exciting and really cool that somebody actually wants me to make stuff for them. And this is probably a really big step in my adventure into cake making, and hopefully one day this can become like a full-time career. Speaking of, please like and subscribe because that really gets me to that place, and I'm so grateful for everybody who's been supporting me and who's been liking and leaving such kind comments. I feel like whenever I reply, like the feeling that I have doesn't translate into text. Like, I'm just so grateful, and it makes me kind of teary-eyed to see people who I don't even know like my work. So here's to way more projects, and here's to hoping that the person I meet in real life who wants my actual real cakes is going to enjoy them. But I hope you stick around for that because I'm gonna need a little bit of support during that process. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye.